You don't mind, we'll call this meeting to order. Go ahead and announce all the aldermen are present. Alderman Blackman had, his father had surgery, so he can't make it tonight. But if we would, Mr. James Lewis lead us in the invocation, and Alderman Messer in the pledge, please.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Master, first of all, we want to thank you for the opportunity to see another day that we've never seen before, we shall never see again. Thank you for waking up in our right mind. We pray for this board that have been duly elected by the citizens of Ocean Spring that will continue to seek your guidance in all the decisions that they make. And let us, as the constituents, conduct ourselves in a respectful manner in our communication skills. Ask all in your daughter's son, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
I have some comments before we accept. Are we good to go?
Okay.
Oh, I'm out. Our mic's not working right now.
Mine's that working? We,
Just give it a second, they'll start.
you want to discuss the agenda, Shannon, is that what you're?
I'm going to I want to amend the agenda. So the mic's ready, or?
We need to have a motion and a second and then go into discussion.
That's what I was asking.
Okay, we got a motion by Alderman Hinton. Second by Alderman Wade. Now we can discuss.
All right. We ready to go with amending? Okay. Mayor, members of the board, I want to move to amend the agenda. My two items, which I requested in writing, be placed under new business for discussion and direction, or instead placed under Section 11 Alderman's Forum. These are not informal remarks, but substantive items that require board action. Therefore, I move that these two items be relocated to new business as items C and D following the existing order.
Okay. This is the items that we had turned in on Friday, and they put them on the agenda Friday afternoon.
Under
Alderman's Forum, under your name.
Correct, and I asked they go under new business for discussion.
What was the problem? What was the problem?
It's new business material.
Were they turned in on time?
Yeah. They
Okay.
were turning on time.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second by Alderman Tillis. Discussion. No discussion? Okay, we'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, ayes have it. So it will be under new business. Now we need to continue. We have a motion and a second on the agenda. Now we need to take a vote to adopt the whole agenda with those amendments being made. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda with the amendments that were made.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Stennis. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Now, we do have a proclamation to present. Mr. Allen and Ms. Alder family would like to stand and board welcome to come join us. Yeah, here, man. Come on in. This is Okay. Glad to have you. y'all here tonight. Celebration, Jeannie. So, whereas Jeannie was constantly engaged in the life of her community. Jeannie was a teacher, writer, accountant, a speaker, and community leader. Jeannie served on the board of the Walter Anderson Museum of Art, Homes of Grace, the Salvation Army, the Montessori School of Ocean Springs, the Gulf Coast Devante Society, and the Gulf Coast YMCA. She was also a member of the Order of the Eastern Star and the PEO, and served on the board of the Great Southern Club. Great. Whereas in 2005, Jeannie suffered a catastrophic injury in a car crash. However, having to use a wheelchair and learn to perform tasks with partially paralyzed hands did not stop Jeannie from her commitment to her community and nation. And whereas in 2010, Jeannie was elected Mississippi's Republican National Committee woman. Jeannie was re-elected in 2016 and president of the Mississippi Federation of Republican Women. Jeannie's influence helped shape the Republican Party in Mississippi and the nation. And whereas Jeannie was the vice chair of the Board of Trustees for the Institution of Higher Learning, the governing board of Mississippi's public universities, working to make Mississippi University stronger and more inclusive, especially for those with disabilities. Whereas Jeannie quietly helped countless individuals attend college, get a job, and pursue their dreams, both with her direct support and through her work with nonprofit organizations. And whereas Jeannie's hard work and constant positivity was a testament to her love of her community, her state, and her nation. Whereas Jeannie's crowning achievement was her family. Jeannie was married to her husband Alan for more than 40 years. They shared daughters Laurel and Taylor Lucky Brennan. Jeannie was a doting grandmother to her two grandchildren, Cornelius and Toxie Ray Brennan. Jeannie was a loving mother, daughter, sister, and aunt. And whereas Jeannie's legacy of service, strength, and compassion leaves a lasting impact on Ocean Springs, Mississippi, our nation, and beyond. And now, therefore, I, Bobby Cox, Mayor of the City of Ocean Springs, proudly proclaim Jeannie Carter Lucky Day in honor of her remarkable service, dedication, and unwavering commitment to our community. Thank y'all very much. Who you think?
Like
you like each other.
For a minute.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Mayor, appreciate it, and I want to thank our Board of Aldermen. Those of you, and there are most of you who knew Jeannie probably, knew she was one of Ronald Reagan's happy warriors. She never wanted to confront anybody, she wanted to convince them. And so I think it maybe is a good opportunity to remind everybody that's what we're here for in Ocean Springs. We're here for the betterment of everybody. Lord knows she was. Thank you all for being here, and thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, you hold my spot. Okay, now we have a presentation from Alexander Van Loon Sloan Levin Farr PLLC, ABL.
Yeah, ABL.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm Kim Marmley, I'm the partner of the audit department at ABL. We completed your 9/30/24 audit, and that's what we're here to present. But before I start the presentation, I just want to mention that it takes a team of auditors to complete your audit, and with me is Gloria Shaver, the director of ABL's audit department. She led the team and ran your audit. You have a PowerPoint presentation up on the screen. You have a PowerPoint presentation in front of you, which is going to summarize what I'm going to discuss about all the other deliverables you received this evening for me to go over the audit. So if we go to page 3 of the PowerPoint, you have 3 deliverables from us. One is our communication to those charged with governance. It's a standard letter that we have to provide to you that outlines your responsibility as auditee. our responsibility as auditor. If we have problems conducting an audit, we report it here, there were no issues. We also attach the journal entries that we propose to the city's financials, and any estimates in the financial statements are disclosed in that report. So that's something that you can read on your own if you want to know more about that content. You also get a letter of recommendation to management. As part of your audit, we walk through the internal controls, we do some testing, and also during our test of substandard testing, if we find anything that we don't consider material or we don't consider significant, it gets reported in that letter. It's ways to improve the city. We also report any new accounting pronouncements that are on the horizon. We provide that to your management. It's there for you, but I don't go over it as part of this presentation. If there's anything of significance that would have been disclosed in the bound audit report, which is our last deliverable, the green with the binder on it, and there are no findings in that report. And we'll talk about that more as we go through. Let's go to page 4 of the PowerPoint. What you get as a result of our audit is an opinion. It's on pages 2 and 4, and it's an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that we can offer on the city's financial statements. We're talking about 9/30/24, so anything I talk about going forward is historical. Has nothing to do with the current financial position of the city. On page 5 of the PowerPoint, in front of your audited financial statements, we're going to see management's discussion and analysis on pages 5 through 10. This is a summarized snapshot prepared by city management that condenses everything behind an audit report into those few pages. So it talks about where the city's been and where the city's going. So that's something that you can read on your own as well. It's a good summary. So now that brings us to page 6 of the PowerPoint. I want to take a minute here to mention that your financial statements, there are 2 full sets of financial statements in this bound report. One is a government-wide financial statement on page 11 through 12, and the other is a fund-level financial statement. The difference between the two is government-wide is on full accrual, like a business would report financial information. The fund level is on an economic resource model. It means it's only reported in the financial statements when it's available for city use, and it very closely resembles what you use on an ongoing basis to manage the city. So 2 full sets of financial statements. On pages 8 of the PowerPoint, the first one I'm just going to talk about a few small things on the government-wide, just to tell you what's different about that than the fund level. One is that the city at the fund level expenses any purchases of property and equipment, but the government-wide, you capitalize those. Also, any debt that's outstanding is shown as a liability in these financial statements. And then lastly, the net pension liability, the unfunded pension liability that is provided by PERS is recorded in these financial statements. That's on the governmental activities column. Then you have a business type activity, which is your water and sewer fund. It is actually the same at the fund level and at the government-wide level. Because you don't use this type of statement to manage the city on an ongoing basis, we're going to spend the rest of our time in the presentation talking about the governmental funds, which are on a fund level. So now we're on page 12 of the PowerPoint. The city has 4 major funds and 6 non-major governmental funds. Your 4 major are the general fund, was the operations of the city, the food and beverage, which is where you put the 2% food and beverage tax for economic development is accounted for in that fund. You have a general obligation fund, which is where you report tax dollars and pay the city's debt. And then you have a capital projects fund, which is where grants and other intergovernmental revenues go in, and then you pay for any construction or other capital projects out of that fund. You'll see on page 12, there's all the assets by fund, and on page 13 are all the liabilities. If you go to page 14 of the PowerPoint, we're just going to look at the general fund. That's the main fund of the city, governmental. Let's just talk about some of the changes compared to 2023. Your overall cash position was down a little. You have an increase in receivables because you had a recorded new lease from the Cellular South, so that increased it. You also have a larger amount due from other governments because you had a lot of grants outstanding at the end of the year from FEMA related to Hurricane Ida, restore funds related to the public work relocation, and also some money due from the county related to some tithings funds. So that's what makes up that large increase in due from other governments, which was collected within a few months of the end of the year. At the bottom of the middle of the page, you have unearned revenue. What that is could be two things. It is an advance of funds not yet spent. That's most of what that is, which is your ARPA funding that you received in advance and you don't record it as revenue until you start using it. And then any other grants from Restore, FEMA, and the county that you didn't receive in a few months after year end are recorded here. So that's why you see an increase in unearned revenue. At the very bottom of the page, you take your assets from the general fund, minus any outstanding liabilities, and you get what we call fund balance. Fund balance is broken down into a couple of categories. Part of it's not spendable because it's not in a cash form and won't be in a cash form. Then you have some that you restricted for capital improvements. You set aside some for employee health insurance deductible. And the last one that I just really want to talk about because it's a good position to be in is your unassigned. You had 10 million in unassigned fund balance at the end of the year. That's enough to cover 6 months of operating expenses for the city. The Governmental Financial Officers Association, also known as the GFOA, recommends a minimum of 2 months. So you're sitting good with a 6-month reserve for your expenses. If we move to page 16, we're looking at the governmental funds again. But now we're looking at the revenue and the expenses for each of those 4 major funds and 6 non-major funds. That's reported on page 16 and 17. Kind of touched on what makes up the revenue, so we're just gonna move on to page 19, which is the general fund. Just talk about some of those changes compared to 2023. Overall, your tax revenue was up in 2024. I'm on page 19. You did see a decrease in licenses and permits, and your grant revenue was down, but you still have 1.4 million in grant revenue in 2024. If you look at the expenditures, you see expenditures are broken down into city function. The general government had an increase in expense related to front beach sidewalk and vehicles. Public Works had an increase related to new vehicles and personnel costs. I'm sorry, Public Safety did. And Public Works had an increase in contractual services. Then Culture and Recreation had new vehicles as well in 2024 and an increase in repairs and maintenance. And then if you look at the capital outlay line, it went down because last year you purchased the Danville Boulevard land was in that number. So those are the big fluctuations in 2024. That's all we're going to talk about, the governmental funds. We're going to move on to page 21, which is your water and sewer fund. Your cash position was up $856,000 compared to the prior year. And if you look at your other assets, there's really not much change going on in any of those line items. On page 22, your liabilities are actually down in 2024 compared to 2023. You ended the year with $19 million invested in the water and sewer and 1.2 unrestricted reserves in the water and sewer fund. Page 24 of PowerPoint. This is the revenue and expenses for the water and sewer fund. You did see an increase in charges, which was almost washed out the increase that you had in contractual services and expenses. Last year you had a large expense in supplies because you replaced some water meters last year. You didn't have that same expense this year. So your income after expenses was $292,000 in 2024. Page 26 of the PowerPoint, there's an extra statement with the water and sewer fund. It's the cash flow statement. And it shows that you brought in 1.5 million in cash through operating activities, and you spent 604,000 in capital and debt payments, ending with an increase of $897,000. On page 27 of the PowerPoint, you're going to see notes mentioned here that give a lot more detail of all of those things that we discussed and some that we didn't discuss. If you want to look at those and see more about the information that's in the financial statement. And then lastly, on page 28, the city spent $4.5 million in federal funding, 2024. That requires you to have a single audit. A single audit we select according to federal government standards that we pull down. We select grants to test. We test them for compliance and for good internal controls. You passed with no findings in internal controls or no findings of non-compliance. You also had no non-compliance with state laws. So overall, it was a very good audit. It went well, and your management did a really good job. Any questions?
I'd like to hear what you just said. They did a very good job. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the board?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The challenge is just keep it going. Okay, we're at the agenda public comment. The public is invited to address the board for up to 5 minutes each for a maximum period of 30 minutes, only regarding issues listed on this agenda. If anybody would like to speak, please come forward. Anybody?
Good evening, James Lewis, Ward 5. I've just got one question here, and that's on, Department report 9C. And the portion that I have, is there a dollar that the city's going to pay for this independent evaluation and risk analysis on the lack of site? I mean,
This is the property surrounding
Yes, sir.
our public property, not actually on the site.
okay,
So just to clarify that,
no,
it's the surrounding.
you asked the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Anybody else like to address the board on an agenda item?
Good evening,
Hello.
everybody. My name is Nanette Barrios. I'm with
We don't have mics.
Sorry. Good evening, sorry. My name is Nanette Barrios. I'm with Coast Transit Authority. I'm new executive director. Chris gonna pass out a little handout we have for y'all.
Is this on an agenda item, or is this something we need to roll to the next public comment? Okay. It might be for, this is strictly for just what's on the agenda, but this, we can come back to this on the next.
Thank you.
We have the packs.
We got the packet, thank you. Sorry about that. Actually, that might have been.
Good evening, Mayor Cox, Aldermen and women, Hinton, Tillis, Dennis, Wade, Pfeiffer, Blackman, and Messenger. My name is Cameron Rea, and I'm a resident of Ward 3. However, I represent clients in all 6 of our wards and beyond. I hold accreditation as an independently licensed broker of real estate, both nationally and in the states of Mississippi and Alabama.
Cameron, not the, what agenda item are we addressing?
The moratorium.
Moratorium, okay.
My 6 years of experience in real estate placed me in the top 17% of professionals nationally. I hope my professional experience provides the board and the planning commission with valuable perspective. In preparation for today's meeting, I reviewed the video of the August 5th Board of Aldermen meeting, which I could not attend because I was traveling. From today's agenda, I understand that the potential oversaturation, quoting directly, of short-term rentals and the disruptions that they cause to residents in downtown Ocean Springs primarily, as cited from that video, have led the board to consider reviewing old business, existing business. This would grant the authority to adopt ordinances for the immediate and temporary preservation of public peace, health, or safety, among other good causes. I do empathize, while I do empathize with the downtown residents who do not want to be disturbed, I wouldn't either. However, I believe it is the responsibility of the property managers, owners, and permit holders to eliminate those disturbances as they hold the privilege of a license to operate. I propose implementing the stricter regulations on permit holders who abuse these privileges, since 20% of those individuals are causing 80% of the problems for the residents and investors who would otherwise want to enjoy the privileges of these licenses. Additionally, I would like to address the potential risk of damages to residents and investors currently holding or interested in establishing short-term rentals here. These rentals can diversify and enhance their investment portfolios. I want to clarify that these proposed measures do not aim to balance the existing short-term rental market. As mentioned in the August 5th comments, these are specifically focused on reducing the number of short-term rentals overall. My clients and local investors who want to sell their properties cannot transfer their permits. If these measures are implemented, those wishing to establish new short-term rentals would also face even greater limitations. To provide some perspective, it seems we have a problem based on fear of future issues rather than current conditions. The original draft of the moratorium mentions potential oversaturation. Respectfully, we can agree on the importance of individual rights, the free market in a more conservative political environment, enforcing blanket regulations across all 6 wards because some in downtown areas are experiencing disruptions feels akin to telling the entire kindergarten class they cannot have a snack because one child threw theirs on the floor. I propose a more reasonable policy that would enforce strict penalties on irresponsible property owners or managers whose guests cause disturbances while providing opportunity to replace those problem properties with individuals waiting for new licenses. I also suggest that property owners holding licenses should be able to sell their properties with transferable permits. Those with a proven track record of not generating excessive complaints should maintain the right to transfer these properties with permits, enhancing their marketability. I appreciate your time today and love the community in which we live and which I live. I am continually impressed with how the area has remained a beautiful and safe place to reside. As a business owner, community member, and volunteer with organizations like the local chamber, I can always provide professional resource or volunteer efforts to improve our shared community, and thank you for hearing me today.
Thank you, Cameron. Thank you. Do we have anybody else that'd like to address the board? Yes, sir.
Good evening, board. I just want to first say this is my first time being up here since everybody's been elected, so I just want to say congratulations on your victory in the election. And I want to thank the city for allowing us to use the Ocean Springs Civic Center in regards to a water situation in Gulf Park Estates. This is also coming on behalf of the Public Service Commission, the PSC. Right now in Gulf Park Estates, we're having a situation with the water. The water's brown. There's H2S bacteria in there. Sometimes it's overchlorinated. So basically at this point, we're having a water situation. So now what Ocean Springs has allowed us to do is to...
He needs to say his name.
Yeah, my name is Eamon Maheen. Yeah.
Agenda item.
And that's the agenda item 7 about Great River Utility USC Community Meeting. So they're really fun. So basically what we're gearing for is there's going to be a transfer of services in Gulf Park Estates from Jackson County Utility Authority. So they're going to be providing water, but this is a complex negotiation, complex deal. So Ocean Springs has indicated, the city's indicated a willingness to work with the PSC on behalf of the people. So we just want to say thank you, and having the public forum is critical for the discussion. Otherwise, it's very difficult to hold the utility company accountable. But if there's a public forum where the consumers have a direct voice, then we tend to see results. So we're humbly asking if, the people of Gulf Park Estates and also the PSC, if we can continue to use the venue to address this urgent matter, and if we could do it in a way that's either discounted or completely rebated, because it's just a great public importance for that area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else like to address anything on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on to old business. We need to adopt resolution establishing a resolution numbering system. Alderman Pfeiffer.
This was the resolution that I presented at our August 5th meeting, and we made a motion to revise the resolution so the numbering system would begin with that resolution and move forward. So tonight in front of you is an edited resolution. However, there was an additional edit that was not part of the motion. So I think we need to look at that and consider if we are going to amend it on the floor or if we're going to re-present it next meeting. But there was a line taken out of that, that it was sponsored by me since I drafted it and submitted it, and that just was not part of our motion.
Okay. So, do we have a motion to adopt the resolution as stands, or a motion to amend the resolution?
I'll make a motion to amend the resolution back to its original version minus the motion that we adopted to revise the resolution so the numbering system begins with this resolution and moves forward.
Second.
Got a motion and a second by Alderman Stennis. This will be a roll call vote. This is something, Alderman Pfeiffer, that we definitely want to follow up with our processes and procedures. And that is one of the things that has never been done in the city with putting resolutions as far as a name on top of it. It is a board action, not an individual action. So that is the reason it was removed. So I understand you want to change that, so that will be a further discussion. But,
Right, it's just the removal that wasn't part of the motion.
So it needs to be amended to allow there to not be a sponsor or other.
As I stated, the motion was to adopt this as it was revised, not outside of that.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. We got a roll call?
Can we keep a little bit more discussion with it for a bit?
Okay.
And I had something, when you sent me the original.
Hold on, Vic, one second.
So when we do our motions or resolutions, are we going to be proposing each time that our own, signature is going to be on it? Is that what we're looking to do in the future, or?
It wasn't a signature, it was basically just a line taking ownership and accountability for a resolution. We can certainly discuss it, but it wasn't part of a legal motion. So that is why I'm stating that we need to stick with the legal motion that was made for the revision.
Motion was to send it to council for revision, for.
Right, as to revise the resolution so the numbering begins with this resolution and moves forward was what the motion was.
Anybody else have anything to say? If not, I'll ask Vicki what she is.
So is that something that we'll do all in the future, or just for the original one?
Well, right now, it's allowed. So it wasn't part of the motion to strike it. That's why I'm making sure that that's clear tonight.
You're bringing it back up because
it was edited without authorization.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it edited by one of the city officials or the
I
attorney?
don't know, it's just how it appeared on the online packet.
It was sent to the attorney for revision to make sure it was done correctly and formatted correctly. So that's what.
And so the attorney brought it back to us to say that this is the way we need to do it?
Correct.
It's not part of our motion. There was an additional edit that was not authorized.
I mean, do you have something, the attorney has something to say, or?
I didn't know, nobody's asked me a question yet, but, the resolution was drafted in accordance with the instructions to draft the resolution, and it complies with the forms of resolutions that have always been used in the city. And it was sent back out, and I would have expected if an alderman had a additional problem, or if I missed something, or if it doesn't comply with the traditional form, that I would have been alerted that it didn't, and I would have made whatever change, or we would have talked about whatever change, but the resolution was drafted as has traditionally been done in the city of Ocean Springs in the form that it's done. So that's why, and it went back out in the agenda packets on Friday, as is the usual practice.
Let me see what I'm understanding. The numbering system's fine, it's you want your name on it.
I want us to follow proper procedure, and if we make a motion, that we stay within that motion. We don't go outside of that.
But if it's not done correctly,
It wasn't incorrect.
no, I'm not saying that, but just in the future, that if the attorney corrects it,
I would guess maybe it would come back to the person that actually presented it to begin with, because that's a whole important part of why I think we need to be behind our own legislation. It's our own words, it's our own thoughts. We put it on paper, we come in this room and we discuss it. And that's the process. So I'm taking accountability for my work. It's not something that is out of my purview to do.
and I'm not trying to take credit from you, I'm just trying to understand the process, because if I bring up the short-term rentals, then it needs to have Steve Tillis on it?
You can do that unless it's stated otherwise.
Okay.
So, Vicki, do you have anything that you were, no, okay. So this was the reason for what people are putting out there about a mysterious document that was put in our boxes.
Correct.
It was not a mysterious document, it was stated in the last meeting, it will be put in your boxes the next day. So all of that talk is just whatever you
So
want to.
when I asked the next day and nobody took ownership,
We were in a special call meeting,
sure,
and the meeting was still in order, so
and that's never been clarified till now.
you didn't come back and see me.
For what? You didn't take
To
ownership.
ask for clarification, I didn't do that, so.
I didn't either,
So-
and those were not adopted guidelines, sir.
The point is that's why we need
I
to
agree.
review that draft and everybody participate.
I agree.
And make sure we're all on the same page, because the way the resolutions have always been done in the past, not saying that's the way we're gonna end up with, but I want this board, not just one alderman, I want this board to discuss and come up with the processes and procedures
That's
going forward. So-
exactly right.
So we're all on board with that. So if we can move forward with that mindset, and that we're all gonna be part of this process, and it's not gonna be just one, it's going to be a majority, I'm totally fine.
Yeah,
So,
which is part of the reason I have the parliamentary
Yeah, good.
procedure on there, because that'll help us all come up with one defined process.
and we've got a document out for everybody to review and to come back with their thoughts, and
But until then, I mean, procedurally, we just cannot be passing motions, and then there's edits made outside of that motion without authority. I think on its face value, that just cannot be a way that we are going to operate.
I'm going to weigh in on this. When we have, I made a motion to discuss a discussion on process and procedure for the board as whole, for all of us to come to the table and agree upon how we were going to move forward. And to regards to the resolution that was drafted for the numbering system, the city attorney should have reached back out to you to say and clarify before it was to move forward. I agree with that. So moving forward right now, it is amended back to its original form to include what was on there for the motion to begin with. Moving on, we need to get together and discuss a process and procedure. So that's all I have to say.
so, if that, the way we wanna move forward, if you want your signature on the top of this resolution as a sponsor, and that's the way the motion and the second been made, we're ready to call the vote.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, so I'm going to say yes.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Motion passes. Okay, now we're gonna adopt a resolution for a temporary moratorium on the submission and acceptance of short-term rental applications.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I am going to recuse myself totally from this discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recuse myself also. I have I don't own a short-term rental, but I manage one. My name's on the paperwork, and that could be some Conflict of interest.
Then y'all don't have enough.
Oh, we got
Four. We got four. Okay. So is there a motion to adopt the resolution for a temporary moratorium on the submission and acceptance of short-term rental application?
Can we have discussion?
After we have a motion and a second, we go into discussion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Okay.
I read through this resolution, and I have put together a little memo highlighting some issues that I think we may need to look at. There's some grammatical error in the title. Sometimes the word ordained is used. That needs to be resolution or resolved. That's part of a resolution. There's clarity on dates that need to occur. I have it all in notes. I don't know if I need to go through it all. I can pass you all each a copy if you'd like. There's one for the attorney. Just some things that we need to look at in this document. Oh, and my name is misspelled.
Okay. Do we want to move forward with amending and adopting, or do we want to have more discussion? We have a motion and a second. No more discussion? Okay. Y'all ready to call for the vote? Roll call, Steve?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Okay, resolution passes. If we could definitely correct the errors, please. All right, so we'll call them back in. All right, we need to adopt a resolution amending the urban renewal plan to return control to the Board of Aldermen.
So moved. I've got a resolution drafted, and the city attorney has reviewed it.
Second.
So discussion,
Motion and a second, up for discussion, yes ma'am.
same thing, we passed this down. Passing out the same thing, we need clarification, with suggested revisions.
You want to go over your clarification?
Yeah, sure. In the title, it suggested that we could revise that for clarity, and the clarity on the dissolution in section 2 should state that all powers, duties, responsibilities that were formerly dedicated to the redevelopment authority are revested in the mayor and the board of aldermen. And again, these are just suggestions, having read through these things. One in section 4 references an exhibit A, but there's no attachment provided in the draft. And the 4th revision suggestion is to simplify section 5 to avoid redundancy and ensure it states that the city may carry out the urban renewal plan without the redevelopment authority.
Attorney's got a copy of the revisions.
Yes.
Can revise this needed, or you can address that in your motion.
Anybody else want to talk about revisions, amend tonight, bring back?
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Have the attorney, I guess, wrote the first one up. Going back to the attorney, is this something we need to change, or?
So when you draft these resolutions, particularly with regard to the redevelopment authority and the URP, the statute specifically vests the Board of Aldermen with the power over the URP, and also states that you can assign that power to an agency. Once the RDA was dissolved, I was directed to draw up this resolution, and it was my understanding that the purpose was really just to kind of clean the record up. I don't believe that it's statutorily required to have this resolution for the Board of Aldermen to exercise power over the urban renewal plan. I believe the Board of Aldermen had always had that power. But as directed, I've drafted the resolution so that the record was clear that the redevelopment authority has been dissolved and that all the powers pursuant to the statutes, 4315, I believe, as listed in the resolution, 4335-1, at sec, which means the entire section, it clearly establishes that the URP is under the Alderman's control. So if there are some suggested revisions, I certainly, I never mind. I don't take pride in authorship in anything. If y'all want to change it, that's what y'all do. I just draft it as a first shot. So I'm always open to any amendments. I'll do whatever y'all
I don't see any issues with the revisions.
Yeah, I'd like to send the revisions back with the resolution to the attorney to revise with the revisions.
So go ahead and adopt it with the revisions.
Correct.
For clarity purposes for me, you want me to make the revisions as set forth in Alderman Pfeiffer's memo that she handed out, so that I'm not chasing my tail, I don't think.
Just have them check it for legal accuracy?
Yes.
Delivery date?
So the motion's going to be to adopt a resolution amending the urban renewal plan to return control to the Board of Aldermen regarding the urban renewal plan area with the revisions to clean up the section Title 1, 2, 3, and 4 language in the resolution.
Okay, we have a motion. We got a second by Alderman Wade. Roll call.
Aye.
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 Okay.
Before we move on, can I make a motion, because in order to do that, we need a public hearing scheduled for September the 16th. I'd like to make a motion for the city clerk to issue notice for public hearing regarding the issue of rescinding the urban renewal plan adopted on March the 2nd, 2025, and for the public hearing to be set up for a recess meeting 6 p.m. September 16th, 2025, because I think the next step in that would be to kill the urban renewal plan.
And that gives us the correct timing on that.
Yes.
With
We can't do it in the first board meeting, it's not enough days.
Was that a motion?
Yeah, that's a motion
That's a
by
motion.
Alderman Stennis,
Second?
second by Alderman Pfeiffer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. You get
Karen,
that?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Pfeiffer. Okay, thank you, Karen. All right, on to new business. We'll handle the one that's there, Shannon, and we'll bring that outside of it. Request refund of rental fees for a fundraising basketball tournament. Stephen, you want to handle it?
Yeah, John Dravis Thomas put together this tournament to raise money for headstone for this lady and to give the rest of the money to the family. I'm just bringing it to the board for your consideration.
Okay, does anybody want to address this? It's to advertise city resources during the event. If anybody wants to make a motion to accept her.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Alderman Wade, second by Alderman Hinton,
Advertise the city resources.
to advertise city resources for, to approve the refund of the rental fee for the use of Tacony Gym and the Ryan Youth Center on August
Waive the rental
2nd.
fees.
No, it needs to be a refund. It's
Refund,
already
yeah,
been
yeah.
done.
And to advertise city resources as well. All right, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so we got a request a refund of Civic Center rental fee for Great River UOC community meeting. Stephen?
Again, this was brought, and I think it's already been said, this was brought to me. I don't have the authority to waive fees. I just told them I'd bring it to y'all's consideration for y'all's approval or denial.
Okay, is there a motion to refund the Civic Center rental for Great River Utility for the August 12th, 2025 community meeting? It advertised the city resources at that meeting. Up to 600 is what it says here.
It's $600.
Or it doesn't have, it's up to whatever y'all set it at or discounted at for the community meeting.
We have a regular rental fee of $600 and we have a non-profit fee that's half that.
They've already paid the $600 or?
They paid their deposit. I asked them to pay their deposit because it's a quick turnaround to have the public meeting.
What's the deposit?
300, I don't have the contract.
That's a non-profit fee also.
So does that affect, if we were to look at maybe the nonprofit, is their deposit next time half of that?
No, ma'am, the deposit
It
stays the
stays
same.
three.
It's just the nonprofit.
Okay.
They have paid $600. They paid a deposit and then we told them that they needed to pay at least another $300, so that would be the $600 fee. And so
So the full amount's been paid, they were just
the full
asking.
amount has been paid, but it can be refunded up to zeros, 300, 600,
That's up to the board to discuss.
any combination.
Well, I'm in favor of helping them. The $600 even is, I attended that meeting and it was very productive. And Gulf Apartment Estates is, part of the, I know they're not citizens of Ocean Springs, but they are, as Karen said, part of the community. I'm in favor of let's give them half of it back, and then in the future, I think we have smaller areas that we could use within the city, because I think we had, about 30, 40 people show up? Yeah, that's a pretty big facility, and $600 each time y'all use it. So I would be in favor of, giving 50% back, and then in the future, maybe we could use a different community center and help you guys out.
I second that.
Okay, we got a motion by Alderman Tillis, a second by Alderman Messenger. Call for the vote. Just covers advertising the city resources.
Aye.
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 Okay. Pass. Now for the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything to pull from the consent agenda?
C
Oh, it's C.
and XYZ.
Can't move
Is that all on consent?
that. Can't move that. C.
C as in Charles.
Okay, C and X, Y, Z.
Stuff under Alderman's.
You know what?
We skipped my two
Wait,
new
I
business.
just realized that.
Sure, I'll-
Hang on, let's back up. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
I forgot she moved that to, new business.
Yeah. So,
So we're gonna go back to
parliamentary.
the parliamentary procedure workshop proposal.
Yes.
By Alderman Pfeiffer.
All right, this is, these are unicorns in the industry. They're not hard to find. I started with Jason Camp up at Mississippi State. I knew someone in Washington State, and I found someone in Baton Rouge. That comes highly recommended. A lot of credentials, top of her game. And this is a proposal that was prepared for you with 5 options. She did mention a lot of cities do opt for option 4 most of the time, if that matters. The process of this is just to facilitate a process for all of us. Looking at the city charter, any governing documents, bylaws, and Mississippi code that would facilitate a workshop of all of us working together and deciding how we want to govern over the next 4 years, given all the resources that she'll provide and work with us on.
And you need to have a motion, or you just,
I was
you need a
just-
motion and a second to go into discussion.
Oh, I was explaining, I was introducing, but
That's okay.
make a motion to discuss and possibly get direction on the parliamentary procedure workshop proposal.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
And a second by Alderman Dennis. Now we go into discussion. I like any ideas of helping get everybody on the same page and working towards the same procedures and processes, but my first thought was we need to stick with Mississippi MML, and I was gonna say Mississippi State Extension Service. I didn't know you had talked to Camp, Mr. Camp, but that would be my only comment, is try to keep it within. Now,
Matter
we've
of
been through this
If I
during,
can just
you
point
know.
out, I spoke with Nicole just once on the phone. She let me know she was a former resident of Ocean Springs. I don't know her, but she actually said she served on the library board.
Oh.
So she's very familiar with Mississippi, Ocean Springs, and will only work from our codes and laws.
Well, that was gonna be my only input, and just MML classes cover the same thing. So I know I've participated in those classes, and I'm sure Kevin's probably.
This isn't really a class. I think it's just a whole board process that we all will sit together in a room and hammer out how we want to operate the next 4 years.
Why wouldn't we use MML for Mississippi State?
Actually, they don't offer it, and he asked me for this woman's website.
MML did, Jason did.
I think with all the new people we have on the board, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Five of the 7 aldermen new. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. What is it, 4 hours?
It can be 4 hours. There's 5 options. There were, if you need me to go over them real quick. There was a really basic one, which I think we probably might be needing a little more than basic, but the base one was $500 2-hour training on parliamentary procedure and small board rules. After that is $575 for 3 hours of training, just a little bit longer session of parliamentary procedure and board rules. Option 3, a 4-hour training, parliamentary procedure, open meetings law, small board rules, and you pick one of 5 modules from resolution writing, agenda minutes, mock meeting, and so on. Option 4, training and bylaws package. I think she said this was the most popular picked by municipalities. 4 hours of training, a bylaw assessment, recommendations, amendments, working with bylaws committee, and drafting of amendments and present for adoption. And the last one being option 5, I guess the full package, training and meeting. It even does follow-up, free phone and email support, post-meeting report, I guess kind of letting us know how we're doing after we would adopt whatever guidelines we want to adopt.
Are those costs total?
Yes.
Not per person.
Not per person. All right. I mean, right now.
It would all, she would send a contract anyway that we would have to then look at depending on what decisions made tonight, and it would spell out, I'm sure, all the specifics.
Right. I know right now I'm working with the city clerk on taking some MLL classes on some of the same things we're talking about. And then, you know, we've got this form here working with the MML. It's unfortunate that they don't offer a class, you know.
I've been talking to them
as a
for,
whole.
a while.
So, I mean, I know, as Bobby said, that the MML's always been something that, I guess it's been done over the last many years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Shannon, I like it. I think, you know, I hate it that we can't go through the MML.
I think
So,
You know,
they can
weighing in on
continue to
this, you know,
enhance.
I'm all for learning more and growing. I think there's other options that we can also need to venture out and look at before moving forward on just with this one. We did do the MML classes back in July. The city did pay for us to go to those meetings and seminars. So my stance on it is we need to look at some other options too, you know.
All right, so this again isn't so much a training module as it is a group activity for 8 people that have never worked together before to come up with an understanding and guidelines that we're gonna put into place.
Now, Shannon, I do have the feelers out for team building with Joy Reeves with the Power Company. They offer the same team building type, bringing the whole group together, that type, through that, and that's at no cost.
Yeah. But would it
and I
touch
think
on
that would
our
be something that we-
charter and our bylaws and
No,
this?
that is just team building. As far as your
Right.
charter and your bylaws, you definitely have those classes through MML.
But it's not in this way, and they've already identified that that's lacking. And this is not, again, it's not a training class per se. It is a workshop for all 8 of us to come to the table with an equal voice and look at all of our roles and responsibilities in our governing documents and come up with a plan for the next 4 years. I think that's a very important step that our board really needs to strongly consider.
Any other discussion? No? Okay, well, I mean, personally, I don't think we should take it off the table. I would almost rather let's bring it back for more discussion, let everybody research. Do we have any dates that this would be possibly available?
It's at our choosing. I would imagine we would call and schedule something.
I know that's probably gonna be our biggest holdup is finding a date, but that's kind of the problem we've had with Ms. Reeves, with the team building, is finding a date that would work for us. So, we've got a motion.
I got one more thing. So, you know, Shannon, I think it's a great idea. Let's look at some more options. I've already got some scheduled classes, so at this point right now, I don't know that I'm gonna be able to support it, but let's look at what we have. You know, continue to try to get the board together. But at this point right now, I'm gonna stick with the MML classes and the Mississippi State Extension.
Just so we're clear, that's not anything you're gonna learn from the MML, and this is not an individual course. Just making that clear.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I would also rather look at resources within Mississippi as opposed to out of state.
Are we gonna vote, or?
Do we wanna pull this out and keep it on the table, or do you want?
I would like to bring it back up on our, in 14 days.
Let's bring it back up, Shannon.
I can call for a vote, or we can do that. Either
Do we
way.
vote for the 14-day thing? Is that a vote as well?
Yeah, to be on the agenda under new, old business for the September 1st meeting.
You wanna withdraw your your first
Or we
motion?
just bring it back for this under old business, right? That would be a motion I could make?
You gotta withdraw your other motion.
Just withdraw your other motion, and then it will come back up. You can just put it back on the agenda, and we can bring it back up.
So I need to say I withdraw the motion. We just had to skip this discussion and direction, though. It wasn't for a vote, my motion.
Well, we got to the discussion, we haven't called for a vote, so.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I shouldn't have to rescind if
And
it
probably no action is.
stated with discussion.
Yeah, just no action.
So, okay, so we'll move on to the next, Community Opioid Risk Coordinator Grant.
Okay, that one, we learned at the MML in some of our classes that the Attorney General had issued a letter with the opioid settlement where we're gonna have several $1 million coming through our state over the next several years. And then I received an email from Julia Weaver, former alderman and resident, and it kind of reminded me, yeah, I need to look at this. Do I need to make a motion to discuss this first before I keep going?
I would just propose what you're doing.
So Julia Weaver sent it to me, reminded me, and I noticed due date September, did some research, came up with an idea for an opioid risk coordinator. So this was put together again for discussion and direction, and a possibility for moving forward.
Who do they recommend to be this person as far as?
Well, it's not, I looked at what some municipalities are doing with, this is a new thing, these opioid settlement funds. And one of them that kind of jumped out at me was this opioid risk assessment coordinator. Traditionally, it seems like they fall under the fire chief's authority. And they would just, I know we've had a recent overdose again, provide resources, tools that could work with Narcan, making sure everybody's trained, supplied. We don't have a, whatever you would call it, a bin in the police station to accept expired drugs, and I noticed that some police agencies on the coast do, and that kind of got wrapped into this idea as well.
Mayor, if I may, it's
Yeah, Chief, you got any?
Please.
So I saw when this got added to the agenda, I'm pulling stats from August 18th of last year to this fiscal year. We have worked 24 overdoses, 1 overdose death, 12 Narcan administrations, that's between us, FD, and Acadian. So that's the stats for fiscal year. We have been trained on Narcan, our officers carry Narcan probably for 6 or 7 years. So that's training's already in place with us. As the narcotics drop box that we used to have, the problem we ran into was the DEA doesn't do take-back days anymore, they've stopped that. We have people putting illegal narcotics, liquids, needles, and everything in that bin. So the hospital has taken that grant, now the hospital's it sounds easy, but like I said, our lieutenant over CID ran that, and it became it sounds easy and nice, but that's the issues we ran into with it, and that's why we did away with it. So we have local pharmacies here in the hospital actually participates in that. So that's how the PD's handles that.
Is that something the hospital would want to let the community know? There's a
That would be up to Sand River.
receptacle?
That would be up to Sand River, CVS, most of the pharmacies have it also. But like I said, that's a problem we ran into, and like I said, the DEA, as of the last take-back day, we participated with them, and they're no longer doing that. So, and like I said, as an opioid overdose, we've had, 24 with 1 death in the last August all this year. So, guys, like I said, the main reason we carry Narcan is for our officers' exposure to fentanyl or any opioids, but of course it is administered if they go into a call or an overdoses. So, just want to give that information.
Thank you.
Chief.
Thank you. And as far as personnel to oversee this, Ms. Pfeiffer said that the fire department in most cases, are the ones handling that.
Just what I've seen, just on a cursory look at how the job descriptions are going out in other cities. Like one I saw in South Carolina, they just happen to have it under fire chief. And again, this is an idea, I think, we need to look at how our community wants to address this. This was just one idea presented for discussion tonight, but the deadline is middle of September.
Okay. It's definitely hits close to home for all of us, so it's something we definitely want to discuss and have a plan going forward. So let's get together and we'll discuss this in the department head meeting and bring it back, if you don't mind, so that we can identify anybody that could take this on.
One other question. Do first responders fire, do you know if any of them are Narcan trained?
As far as on our fire department is here. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Sorry, I almost skipped them. I missed. So for the consent agenda again, does anybody have anything to pull? I know I've got C and X, Y, and Z. Anybody else have anything else to pull from the consent agenda? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
With the exception of C, X, Y, and Z. Got a motion from Alderman Wade, second from Alderman Hinton. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, item C.
That was pulled because the minutes are the same. They're July 29th, for both July 7th and July 29th. So I think we just have to pull that, and I guess next meeting, get the July 7 minutes. If you look on the packet, July 29 minutes that are actually attached.
Okay.
So I guess I'll need to make a motion to pull consent agenda C.
You've already pulled it, so we'll just make a motion. We'll
Okay.
wait until the next meeting to approve those minutes.
Then, again, kind of like the others, I reviewed some contracts, so I've got handouts for the MDOT one, things we might want to look at. 3, 4. All right. I just had some comments about the wording on the insurance requirements, the reimbursement process, the cost overruns, just making sure if we get in that situation, we know we're okay on cash flow. And what else? Project scope and maintenance. The section I refers to design, construction, maintenance of intersection, but it says it's needs to be clarified to whether that's temporary during construction, just for our own purposes, to make sure we're not on the hook for anything more.
Let's see. Ms. Harris, would you like to address any of this, or Ms. Carolyn?
I mean, we get this, this MOU from MDOT, it's been through their legal, they use their templates, their boilerplates, and we generally don't have an opportunity to make changes, but I can definitely bring them back to them. With concerns, if there are concerns that the board wants to have changed. But like I said, this is the MOU from MDOT. This particular one, just so you understand why we're getting this, it's not the normal MOU that we would apply for grants and get that MOU fund. This has to do with the Dana Road project and the drainage conflict right there at Bienville. They are agreeing to fund it since it would have been part of their expansion project, but we need to go ahead and implement it so that we can get Dana Road done, and so they've agreed to pay for it. So it's a pass-through in order to make that happen. I don't know if I go back to them and say these things have to be changed, I don't know what their process will be, so.
And again, just things I'm pulling out, legal may want to look at, or not, but bringing it to someone's attention.
This is definitely a project that has been waiting and waiting and waiting. We definitely do not want to stall the Dana Road project if that's the case for the drainage. But MDOT, their restrictions are tough, and they usually will not modify for us. So that's up to the board, but,
Is this potentially gonna slow the process down?
It will, yes.
And then what kind of time are we talking about? Just a ballpark figure?
Completely unpredictable.
It took us 4 months to get this MOU.
It had to go through their legal twice, it has to go through their commission, so it's not predictable how long it will. I mean, the project's already been delayed 1.5 to 2 years, so it really, we would have no idea what the impact's gonna be. I mean, there are things that we could bring back to them and clarify as far as procedural, if there is a concern as far as overruns and whatnot, and do some amendments as we go, but, yeah, like Mayor said, that's not usually willing to change a lot in their areas.
okay, so do y'all want to send this back to MDOT with that chance, or we want to move forward with approving item X?
So we need to move forward.
Is a motion to approve item X?
Second.
Motion for Alderman Tillis, second from Alderman Wade. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
Okay.
All right, X and Y.
All right, same thing. Community center lease. Looked at it. Had some, just concerns. Bring it to everyone's attention. I did not keep a copy. This one, and it's just an agreement, draft lease agreement with the community center. Section 2 allows the lease to be revisited at the request of the mayor upon swearing in. An individual mayor can't unilaterally open contracts approved by the board. Any review or amendment should be required for approval. Rental income and control. Section 4 allows WAMA to rent facility to third parties and retain all income. Without reporting requirements, the city loses oversight of public revenue generated by the city. Financial reporting or revenue sharing provisions should be included. 3, maintenance and capital costs. The city bears full responsibility for structural, ADA, and life safety systems, while WAMA's contribution is capped at $35,000. Future capital repairs should require board review and approval to protect city funds. 4, utilities. The city is responsible for special utility costs due to excessive usage. This language is vague and could create disputes. The agreement should define excessive usage based on an objective standard. 5, insurance coverage. The lessee is only required to carry $1 million liability coverage. For public venue hosting third-party events, this is low. At least $2 million aggregate liability coverage should be required, with the city named as the additional insured. 6, Section 11 requires WAMA to indemnify the city for its own use, but it's unclear if it extends to third-party rentals. Indemnification clause should cover all events, rentals, and activities under WAMA's management. 7, furniture and equipment. Section 4 gives WAMA full access to city-owned equipment, but inventory protections are minimal. Equipment furniture inventory should be notarized or formally approved and updated annually to prevent disputes. 8, dispute resolution. Mediation is required before legal action. The city should explicitly reserve the right to seek immediate injunctive relief to protect public property, including Walter Anderson murals and emergencies. Those are my notes.
I know there was some amendments discussed prior to this coming to us, so if you'd like to speak, or yes, go ahead.
I'd like to ask Walter Anderson, Julian, if you would like to get up, and I have a question for you on.
You want myself or Maddie?
Either or.
Maddie would be good, thank you. Thank you, Maddie. All right.
Can you just tell us who you are again?
Maddie Codling, I'm the new executive director at the Walter Anderson Museum.
Okay. Question for you is, who drafted up your lease for you?
I drafted the lease, and so I appreciate y'all taking that under consideration.
Okay. So there is some things that have been, that we do need clarity on to move forward with a lease. For us, I know y'all have kind of a time limit that you need to go on. For us to move on, for me to look at this needs to be gone over by a lawyer and add some language into it that needs to be there for the city behalf and also for WAMA's behalf also. So both parties are going to be protected on both sides. Do y'all have a deadline that y'all are trying to push for? I mean,
We do. So the grant that we are applying for that would aid the city in the restoration of the Community Centers Foundation, the deadline for that is September 1st.
okay. Second question is, do y'all have an attorney that y'all like to use? I know that museum has a few of them on hand.
We
so.
do, and I actually have had this reviewed by an attorney, and we have made those edits, but Alderman Pfeiffer brought forward some really good points, and of course we can address those.
Okay. I think that answers my questions on that, so, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, anybody else have anything to say? Any comment? Any discussion? So we need to move this forward and have our attorney review, or it's gonna have to be reviewed and?
Like Maddie said, the deadline for the grant, the reason the city isn't applying is this particular grant through the Mississippi Arts Commission. If you have one active, you can't apply for another, and we have this grant for the Mary C. So we are not able to apply. So the reason that the lease needed to be put in place is so that the Mississippi Arts Commission has some legal connection between the two entities. That being said, even if it was adopted today, it could be amended tomorrow. So the timeline simply is that there is a lease agreement in place that gives them operational control that would satisfy the grant amendment. So that's just as far as timeline to answer your concerns about that.
So do we want to entertain a motion to let our attorney adopt it, but have it amended to address these concerns?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to adopt it, but make sure that that these comments, these edits are incorporated, you know, to the satisfaction of the attorney, or however you want to do it. Just, there's not another meeting before the grant deadline, and that's why it's needed for that.
You're not adopting it,
You're approving.
they're giving you the authorization to sign it. So
Right.
they can give you the authorization to sign it after the amendments have been.
After the amendments are made.
Correct.
Yeah.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion by Alderman Stennis,
Second it.
second by Alderman Pfeiffer. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Motion passed. All right, Z.
Last one.
What's that?
You want to do the last one? Z?
Yeah, that's what I said, Z.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. So same situation, looked at the contract, have some comments for Covington Civil and Environmental Proposal.
This is not covered.
This is Stevenson.
Shoot, I gave you the wrong one. Let's see if I can get that one. Then just withdraw. I think I didn't bring it.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve item Z? A motion by Alderman Wade, second by Alderman Hinton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right. So we got department reports. Does anyone have anything to pull from the docket of claims? Is there a motion to approve the docket of claims?
So moved.
Got a motion by Alderman Hinton,
Second.
second by Alderman Wade, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Authorize the adjustments of the water and sewer accounts due to a finding that the customers did not receive the benefit of the utility and the excess usage was due to unforeseen circumstances. Anyone have any questions about the sewer adjustments? Do we have a motion to authorize the sewer adjustments.
Make a motion to adjust the water and sewer adjustment accounts due to the find of the customers did not receive the benefit of the utility and excess use of the water for unforeseen circumstances.
You got a motion?
I'll second.
And a second, Alderman Pfeiffer, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, so discuss the Covington Civil and Environmental Proposal to provide an independent evaluation. I just put that on there because they did send that to us for us to discuss. This is for the property surrounding the Leica property, not their property, it's public properties that we're requesting. So, any discussion or any comments or motion?
Okay, now it's my part. I have a handout for this one. Same thing, there's a reference in the proposal that they've attached a rate sheet and general conditions, and I didn't see that in our packet. Scope is limited. There's some question about deliverables. There's an open-ended budget. It's not firm on if it exceeds the cap. And then the scope relies on discussions with MDQ and Butler Snow, and the city just needs to confirm that the consultant will provide an independent analysis and not just a restatement of third-party information.
That's a good point. We need to make sure of that. And this was strictly to put on here for us to discuss and decide what we want to do and whether this is exactly what we want or not. I'm more than willing to take this back and give them a call and bring this back at the next meeting. It's not, if y'all would like me to do that, that's what we'll do with that.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I think we need to do that.
Okay, and if y'all have anything else to add to this, please do, and we'll move forward after the fact. All right? All right. Discuss authorization to set up a public hearing for the demolition of 126 and 128 Earl Taylor Lane. Darrell?
Yes, this is the duplex that was burned close to a year ago. We want to try to see if we can set up a public hearing for October the 7th meeting. This will give us an opportunity to start doing our advertising through the paper and not posting in certain areas. I've already got a condemn signed on it, so that's already started. I do ask that because of this being a duplex, it's got two separate owners. We've only been able to contact one. He's been back and forth on, he told us one time there was insurance involved, and he said there wasn't. Then we were told that that was under litigation, or that it was being repossessed or going back to the banks. I asked that we at least have the attorney look into it to make sure there's not anything that could get the city in trouble if it is in litigation. But other than that, I just set it up for October 7th, and that way we can move forward.
Okay, so we need a motion to do so.
Just real quick, you said you asked the attorney.
I want to also make it in this that we ask the attorney to look at it, basically a title search, make sure there's nothing that if we did tear it down, we own it,
Okay.
so to say.
So we need to make-
Being that there's two owners in it because it's two separate houses but under one roof. So when one burnt, the other one was destroyed also.
So we need to cover that in a motion, is what you're suggesting. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so does anybody have a motion to do so?
Make a motion to set a public hearing to demolish
126.
126 and 128 Earl Taylor Lane.
With
The attorney.
With the attorney's recommendation.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second by Alderman Pfeiffer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, we got a purchase of SCBA air packs utilizing the 2% tax fund. Chief Pitch, you want to address this?
Chief Fitch, Ocean Springs Fire Department. So So our current SCBA air packs are a brand called Interspiro. The majority of them were bought 13 years ago. The lifespan of a SCBA air pack is 15 years. So we're right at the edge of replacing them anyways. The Interspiro is a company out of Sweden. So the parts and to get somebody to work on them is almost impossible. So the motion is, or the proposal is to buy all new air packs, SCBA, spare bottles, and face masks for the fire department. This is a pretty big expenditure. It covers 24 air packs plus extra bottles. We currently have 20 air packs, so it would give us 4 extra. Our current air packs are at the end of their life. They're not meeting NFPA standards, so it is a safety hazard. We've had 3 new employees come in, and the face mask that we actually had to issue them is deemed unsafe. So this is a major problem. Another aspect of swapping over air packs is that Jackson County, Biloxi, all the surrounding departments use the same air pack. So if we have to help them with mutual aid, or if they come to help us, our equipment is interchangeable, which helps everybody out.
Okay, thank you much. Is there any questions for the chief? Do we have a motion to authorize the purchase of Scott X3 Pro 4.5 SCBA units for the Ocean Springs Fire Department in the amount of $242,383.92, utilizing the 2% tax fund for public safety?
So moved.
Got a motion by Alderman Stennis.
Second.
Second by Alderman Hinton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Chief. We do have a special event coming for our K-20, the Katrina, and Ms. Carolyn wants to address that.
Yeah, and Vicky's gonna pass down some flyers. This has been a group effort for Jackson County. I know all along the coast, you're gonna see the Katrina 20 really celebrations, acknowledgements of surviving the event. So it's reflection, resiliency, and rebuilding. It will be held at the Sound Amphitheater in Goshen. It's gonna have some great music, some great food, and some reflection tables to just kind of understand where we go. Yeah, so there is a post that has been put out that the Jackson County has that I forwarded to Ms. Lord to make sure that we also are promoting and letting people know about this. We're going to have the elected officials who were here at that time have been invited, and just an overall just remembrance and reflection on what happened 20 years ago. So we just invite everybody to attend and be there. And if you have any questions about it, let us know. But it's going to be a really nice remembrance event for it.
Thank you. I know Ms. Carolyn's been going to the meetings, and also the chamber has been going also on our behalf. We've kind of tag team trying to keep all the information. And if you don't, do you have anything you want to add, or any other event you want to?
No, just the K2O, just what Carolyn had said, that we are, that is on the 28th from 5:30 to 8:30. The ceremony starts about 6:30. Our mayor will be speaking for 5 minutes and presenting some stuff, and speaking of the folks that, from the board that were here during that time. So yes, we'd like everybody to come out. There'll be free food while it lasts, and then there'll be food trucks.
Thank you. And now we're on to general public comment. And Mr. Chris, I'm very sorry for making y'all wait all this time. If you would like to come up and present for CTA.
Good evening. My name is Ninette Barrios. I'm the new Executive Director of Coast Transit Authority, and with me, of course, is Chris Fourier, Assistant Executive Director of Coast Transit Authority. I would say I know some of it. I know no one. I'm 3 weeks into this, so forgive me. But I look forward to meeting each one of you and
I will be reaching out after this as I move into my position, get a little more comfortable, and would love to discuss transit a little further, answer any questions that you may have, and listen to hopefully some of the ideas that I have as well. So I come to you this evening on behalf of Coast Transit Authority for the fiscal year 2026, and this is the usual subsidy request. At this time, Coast Transit Authority is the only public transportation system here for the coast, and is a regional transit, as it does serve both counties and cities alike. So currently, CTA is running one route, 7, which operates one bus on a 90-minute interval. It's operating 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 5:30 to 6:45, and Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 6:45. We are projecting ridership to increase this year, and again, but for this previous year, increased by 1.5%, sitting right now at 22,000 riders annually. We also provide ADA, paratransit service. That's door-to-door transit for people that are disabled, either whether they be disabled mentally or physically. And that is FDA funded at 80%. We fund the other 20% with our internal revenue. And that's really important for your Asian community, just to kind of, for those that don't know. And it's something that we need to do a little better job of communicating that across the board. And I find that a lot of people know their buses, but not paratransit services. And those are really important for those individuals sitting at home that, are disabled and need to go, say, play bingo one night, or visit their families, or grocery store, or get to their dialysis appointments on a regular basis, or go to their doctor's appointments. It's not just for doctor's appointments. It's literally for anything that that person may need. Okay, and so we schedule with them, and we pick them up at their homes, and there is just a $3 charge each way for that service, okay? So again, if you flip through the slides really quickly, which should be in front of you at this time, page 4, just gives you a breakdown of what we're looking at. We do have people on the ground taking surveys and asking your constituents verbally, where they go, how they go there. We're interested in that. We want to know how they're moving around and what their needs are, within the community. So right now, regionally speaking, you have about 83% that do not own cars, and this is just for the coast, y'all. So, across the board. And so, we are looking at the fact that obviously this transit is used here, and it is growing at a rapid pace. Definitely before COVID numbers were nearly there. And we would love to expand that service again to help more people within the community, as right now is such a exciting time for Mississippi. You have so much going on. You have a strong port. You've got Amazon headed this way. People are, have already put a spotlight on Mississippi as being, the next, it's booming, it's growing, it's, for a lot of these businesses, it's affordable to come in here and break ground for those new business ventures. So right now, over 20% of Ocean Springs residents are age 65 or older. So you have an aging population there. Median age is 42.7. So we are connecting you within Biloxi and also the region and Ocean Springs to healthcare, groceries, jobs, community service. All our vehicles are ADA compliant. And we also, of course, are providing regional connectivity to boost economic access across the board. And more importantly, the second to last page of this packet is something that a lot of people don't know, and if nothing else, I hope that, I'm happy to talk about this at a different time. I know it's late and everybody must be tired. So we in public transit receive a lot of federal funds that come from the state and the Federal Transit Authority. And those are formula funds. They're based off of our ridership. So when we have ridership, we input that data into a national transit database called NTD, and that goes up, way up there to the top, those feds, right? And so that number gets looked at and says, okay, well, CTA, you had this much ridership, it's your formula this year, and this is what we're gonna give you. So 5307, so the state right now, we currently receive $480,000 annually. Now, granted, on top of that, this team does a great job throughout the year for increasing advertising revenue, bus bench, got some bus benches, buses, bus shelters, racking the buses. We also rent out the bottom floor of one of our facilities. Fair revenue, these are the revenues that we look at to trying to, pick up as much operational funding as possible. The reason for that is, let's say I have on the books $12 million in federal grants, the FTA grants, that's wonderful, but FTA requires a 20% match. So I may have all this grant money, but if I don't have the operational 20% match, I can't use that money. So I may have all this money, but at the end of the day, you might as well burn it, because I can't use it if I don't have that match. We have new buses to buy, new fare boxes to buy, new bus wash rack to buy. We have to increase salaries across the board. We have 117 personnel, a 3% increase across the board this year. We have insurance, vehicle insurance. For everybody that taps us or hits us, it's a $60,000 we have to put to the side, because yes, they're gonna sue. And, it goes on and on. And so if nothing, you take nothing for this evening, what I've said, it's that. That is so critical for us, because although we have these grants, we have this need, and in order to use this money, we have to have that match. And unfortunately, what we bring in internally, we're trying to generate, is not enough money. So last year, we brought in $3.7 million for operating revenue to help with our match, and that included all of our subsidies, all of them, and what we generate internally. So if you think about that's all we have to play with. So every year, we try to move the needle a little bit forward to buy those extra vehicles we need, or to update our equipment, or to be able to tap to pay, to get away from cash, right? Get a little more modernized, move the needle, start accepting, tap pay on the buses. All that unfortunately takes money. So we are requesting this year from last year. Last year we asked for $74,000. We're asking for $77,100 this year. That's only a $3,100 difference, a 4.19% increase. And some of the discussions that we hope to have, my team and I, in the future with you all, is we are really trying to get away from subsidies and looking at a more sustainable future for CTA that is plugging into something more long-term, like millage or something other. So those are things that I'm going to continue. That's my job to dig into and legally try to see where we can go with that, and keep y'all informed as I move forward with that deep dive, so to speak. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you very much, and welcome to the new position.
Thank you so much.
CTA has always been good to the city of Ocean Spring, and we've always partnered very well. For all the years I've been on the board, I know y'all step up and help with Peter Anderson Festival and pretty much any other event that we need help with. Y'all step up and do that. Not under this, but
They
just
donated. I recently learned from Chris.
just to help with anything we have going on. We are going through our budget process, so this will be mixed in with the budget, and we will address that at that time, and we will let you know. But I know this is before you came on board. We actually had a meeting at the chamber, for the rollout of the Amtrak train.
Right.
And I know CTA is willing to help connect us to the train. So that's something that was discussed and something I would not mind revisiting.
And we were there. We've been there every day.
So it was fantastic. So I know people from here that would want to catch the CTA bus over to Biloxi to catch the train. Hopefully we won't do that too long, because we're going to work hard for our own stop. But
and that's what we're here for. I mean, for any, also think of if you have a huge fire, God forbid, and firefighters, from where I come from, we use them as cooling stations for the firefighters. Evacuations, Katrina, another Katrina, God forbid. I mean, CTA is evacuating people. I mean, and it's a vital part of your community and your workforce. So we hope to continue to grow And it's my job to find, hopefully, and it won't be easy, but more consistent, just steady revenue for the agency.
Well, thank you, and we will definitely address this.
Mayor, I have a question about it. It was, in years past, there was a question about extending the route possibly up 609 North Washington to the neighborhood Walmart. That is something I would like to see what the cost would be to do that.
To do that, sure.
Yeah, so.
They probably already have that, that's been requested before, so.
We'll run the whole route, and we will break it down the cost, and we'll get in touch with you, Councilman, and we will send you that information. We'll send it forward.
All right. So we do need to come sit down and go over options, and we'll bring it back, try to do it quickly, so it'd be in the budget.
Absolutely.
I'll
We'll
reach
jump
out.
on it tomorrow.
I'll reach out this week or next week. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Okay. Do we have anybody else that would like to address the board?
Well, got it. Promise. Bill Warren, Ward 2. First, I want to come in the chamber and say Thursday, they're having songwriters at Mayor's Seat at 7 o'clock. They got 2 great groups lined up. And beforehand, from 5 to 7, the chamber's going to host the business after hours there. So y'all come out. It should be a good event and a really good musical event afterwards. So I want to say that.
Thank you. They are requesting the Board of Aldermen to be present for that if you're.
That's no hardship, you all know. Here's some good music. So I'm gonna take my chamber hat off now, and I had 2 quick comments. One, with the short-term rental lease, it's a moratorium. I don't quite understand the duration or y'all's plans for readdressing this in this month.
It's strictly on, we have a waiting list, and we just put a moratorium on accepting any more applications to the waiting list. And I believe it was 6 months. It will be readdressed, but there's quite a long waiting list right now. So it's gonna take 6 months to get to that point. So we're gonna send our request to Planning Commission review and come with research and plans moving forward if there'll be any changes made to the ordinance.
Okay. And then my other comment's kind of random, but I have a question about School Street. It's been quite disrupted for a long time. There's a sidewalk that kids can't use. There's quite a few families back there. What is the timeline for that?
It was supposed to be addressed last week, but we're waiting on Warren Paving to come back to us and pave School Street. So we thought it was soon last week.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very quickly, James Lewis, Ward 5. I want to thank you all for having the Knapp Road pine trees that are very disruptive. Also, there was some electrical wires that's going to houses that saved us in case of a storm comes through. We took them out. Also, my question is that does the homeless coalition still exist here in Ocean Springs? And the reason why I say that is because that we are all one hurricane, one accident, one fire, any catastrophic thing that could happen being homeless. And I just need to know where we stand on that.
Mr. James, I have not been to any of their meetings. I know the Homeless Coalition participants are still here. I don't know if they're having meetings or not. I would have to reach out and find out.
The reason why I asked, because I was supposed to be one of those members, and I haven't heard anything as who's on first, who's second, I don't know who's on third.
Well, if you haven't been notified and you're a member, then that means they're probably not meeting. So I will reach out and find out a little more about that.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Dan Burton, 1109 Washington Avenue, the ongoing saga between Cardiff Development and Pelican Suites. I know most of y'all haven't met this messenger yet, but I know because we're under litigation, I'm happy to report to you that we signed an agreement last night that is going to eliminate the litigation related to that. I wanted to point out something that functioned very well. We had to go before the Zoning and Adjustments Board to make this process work. That board worked very well, and I think we came up with some common sense approach that didn't violate property rights, which has been my whole concern all along, as well as being able to take into account economic development, which the city needs. So I think we came to a good solution. I must admit, this is my first board meeting since the new administration. It looks very different, and it functions very different. I'm happy to say that in a very positive method, because I'm not a very political person, but I've had to be injected into this situation the last 4 months. It hasn't been pleasant, but I will tell you that we did come to a positive resolution, and I will probably, through my experience on this, probably recommend to some of y'all some recommendations related to how the city can prevent this from, in the future, from happening to the citizens as well as to the city, because there is unfortunately a cost associated with this. And if you have inaccurate information that's presented to you by department heads as well as legal counsel, I know that y'all are the elected officials and y'all depend on those people, then that actually costs more money to the city and to the citizens. So very positive to report this to you, and we look forward for this development to move forward through the planning stage. And Mr. Cardiff, and they can go from there.
Good news, thank you.
Yeah, good news, thank you.
Hello.
My name is Taylor Pines. I'm a local resident and business owner. I know some of y'all, I haven't met everyone. I hope to meet everyone at some point and work with you any way I can. My purpose today is to open a line of communication between the city and Ocean Springs business owners, and in particular downtown business owners. And that includes working with, first responders, public works board, the neighbors around downtown, because I know we're trying to make everybody happy. I have no problem, I'm not speaking for anybody, but I have no problem being a phone call away for anybody at any time. I'm a night owl. At the end of the day, good communication is the key to success. So I feel like, if that line is open for everybody, it will work better. It's most of the time everybody's happier. I think we're all aware we're extremely fortunate to live in a great city. And I think we can all agree that we all just want what's best for the city at the end of the day. Like I said, I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone. I am one individual. There are numerous, whether it's bar, restaurant, boutique, hair salon, whatever it is. There's a ton of us. But I will say that we're trying to schedule a meeting for everyone to sit down, to come up with a plan to be proactive, and to bring some solutions to the board for y'all to look at. I've always lived by the saying, things can always be done better. And in my opinion, I think that applies to everything. Every walk of life, it can always be done better. I think we've got a bright future. I plan on retiring here. I've got 2 kids. Hopefully I'm in the ground somewhere here one day when that day comes. But like I said, my phone's always on. I'm always open to have any conversation about anything. You can talk about life, whatever. But that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
And Taylor, my door is open. Just come by and visit anytime you'd like. And if I'm in a meeting, of course, you have to wait. But we're all ears. We want to work together and work with the public, the business owners, all the way around. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Leslie Oliver, and Dr. Moore kind of brought up I live on School Street, and I was wondering, what did you say? Because I told everybody I was coming here to bring up, because it's been since March. And, at first it was an inconvenience, but now it has become unsafe because the sidewalk they did do a really good job today cleaning the sidewalk off, but usually you can't use the sidewalk because the rocks are all over and it's just not safe. So what did you say to them?
Well-
Go back and tell them.
Miss Sarah, if you don't mind just giving a rundown of what has happened with School Street, it just,
Please, tell them.
Yeah, so Public Works, we used some bond money to replace the water line, because it was just repeated repairs.
Awful.
So that contract does not cover paving. We use our term bid. So we went out for paving quotes and it was astronomical. So in the meantime, we got a term contract for asphalt. So Warren was going to address School Street in between the midst of government. Well, they broke down and that project got pushed till Friday. So it did not get done. They're scheduled to meet with me this week to tell me when they will be back to do School Street. And we have other streets, Blandy, and hopefully Russell will be resolved and we can do that one as well.
So all at the same time?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So y'all gonna fix the sidewalk also?
So-
Or just the paving?
What,
Well, the sidewalk is kind of
I
down.
know we talked about,
Yeah, because the rocks get thrown over and it's just worn down, so.
yeah, well,
you need to get
at
that
this
fixed.
time, the sidewalk was not part of that project.
correct.
We've had
It's
a,
something to think about because does need to, because it blends into the street.
Okay.
Even without the rocks and stuff, so. It's just not safe walking, because basically you have to walk in the middle of the street.
You can't get to the sidewalk.
Yeah, and I've
Okay.
had problems with my car, but that's another story.
Well, we'll discuss that absolutely before we proceed with paving. I won't postpone the paving any.
Please don't.
No, once they tell me they're coming, they're coming.
It'd be nice if you put it up on the page, cause just for morale, cause
Yes, we'll send out a release definitely, because they'll have to close School Street to do it. They will still work with the businesses and residents to be on there, but.
they'll be
Free
okay, just
traffic.
you close it, get it done.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
anybody else like to address the board? Yes, ma'am.
Becky Gasport, congratulations to all of you, you look beautiful. And whatever little bit of public scrutiny you're getting, you're doing a great job. I came here to talk about my home at 5305 Dina. I had a camper trailer in my yard, and because we're not trailer movers, we moved it in there ourselves, and we got stuck. And we got stuck because my property is really low, and not for y'all, the city of Ocean Springs does not clean out those ditches. I have complained about it repeatedly, and I was told, I'm not gonna say who told me, that I may have to wait till MDOT cleans them out, and they do the Dina project, new project they're doing. So I went in there to relieve the drainage and the flooding. I cut down, if you've ever been down Dina Street, I cut out all those azaleas, cleaned it out. It took me like 3 or 4 days. It drained a lot of it off, and we were able to move the camper trailer. My neighbor also, I'm not here to tell on my neighbor, I could care less what he does, but I think and believe, because my land flooded this year, that he is hooked up to my water and sewer for the last 15 years. And I just found this out because he originally owned all the land and I bought the house from him 15 years ago. Public Works has come out, they told me that that home over there does not have a meter. They don't know where he's getting his water. The camper is hooked up to water, sewer, and electricity, and the son lives in there intermittently. I feel in my heart that I was singled out. That's probably not even true by code enforcement. Casey Morgan has been wonderful and has been wonderful giving me time to move this camper. It's been a nightmare, believe me. But nothing has been done to the neighbor, and I'm just trying to find out if there's any way, any possible way y'all can help me figure this out. If he isn't hooked to my water and sewer and has been for all this time, I want to get him off. Because I remember years ago when his son did live there, the water bill was really high. It never occurred to me until my land flooded this year. I'm just asking for some relief from y'all, if you could help me out to find out if he is in fact hooked. Could we get it unhooked? Could we get the ditches cleaned out? I don't want to wait till that project comes through. I was against the project at first. I'm looking forward to this 10-foot sidewalk and whatever else y'all are going to do to widen that road. I think it might be an asset, and thank you for all the hard work you're doing. Y'all are doing a great job. Thank you.
Ms. Becker, you talking about the ditch that runs on the side of your house going back the road next to it,
There
or
is
because
one
Dina,
between the two homes. There's one on the side that you can see it now. You can see it. The one in front of my house on Dina and the one alongside 93, Meadowview. That home I'm talking about with the trailer in the front of the yard, and I was told I couldn't put a camper in the front, but no one was living in my camper. Nobody was hooked up, no one was living in it, no one was spending the night in it. But, you know, I got a lot of letters, and they did too, but they're not doing anything with theirs. And I'm gonna eventually put a fence up, but I just don't want the water hooked up to my water. I'm not
totally
sure.
understand
That
that,
is
so
not
we need
fair
to-
to me for 15 years.
we will do what we can
Maybe look
to
into it.
find out about that.
Because
And
Public Works has been out there several times, and I even had a plumber to fix it all, and this has cost me a lot of money and a lot of hard work.
And Alan, have we opened those
That's the
drainage?
first I've heard of it.
Okay.
I got a feeling it was Eddie went out there when we were looking
It
for
was
meters.
Eddie that came out there. He helped.
So
What we need to do is open her meter box up, turn all of her water off, and go to the neighbor's house and turn his water on and see if it's moving. And that would tell us the usage is going to his house.
Because I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
This is me thinking it's because of what the guy that I got the property from said.
Okay, we'll be in touch. Thank you, Ms. Beck. Anybody else like to address the board? Yes, sir.
Hi. Some of you know me, everybody's new. My name's Robin McConnell, and I'm one of the owners of Juke Joint at 1911 Government Street. As Hiller said, a lot of you who do know me and have worked with me or talked to me in the past, my phone is always on. I work at the shipyard as a weapons engineer for the United States Navy from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then from 2 p.m. till 8:30 at night. I'm a bar owner, and then I get to go home and be a husband, a father, and raise puppies. So I never sleep. If there is ever an issue, feel free, by all means, call. I am also here to, I want to maybe change some of the wording that you used. We are going to get together and we are already doing proactive things. I think, I just want to make sure there's no miscommunication or misunderstanding that we will not be approaching the board with what we're reporting to you with, but things that we are already doing to manage ourselves, to ensure that we are taking care of our own businesses and doing what should be done to begin with. There has been some incidences in the past with some former establishments who may or may not have been doing what they should have been doing to manage their own business properly. And unfortunately, that has brought a lot of negative light on all of the businesses in downtown. Maybe not the shops, the closed shops, stuff like that, but the bars and restaurants definitely are being called into question. We, as citizens, and you guys, as our elected officials, have an obligation to the community to address the individual and not punish the whole. One of the last Alderman meetings I spoke at, there was a gentleman up saying we need to institute a sin tax or a service industry tax, and we already do. It's 2% on top of everything else that I sell, so I get paid state 7%, I get paid you guys an extra 2%, and then whatever's left over, I get to pay my employees and I go home broke. Because the first thing and the only thing that is guaranteed as a business owner is you are the last one to get paid, period. So, understand we've had some issues, understand we're still working through some issues. All I ask is that we employ common sense. We don't cut our noses off to spite our face. We follow the law, which my brother and I do regularly. We've answered I don't know how many phone calls. We've bought people noise canceling headphones because, yes, we hold concerts and it can be a little loud sometimes. I am doing my level best. I have a dB meter, even though that is not the law. And I ensure that the cars are peaking my decibel meter more when I'm standing out by the road than my music is. Music and sound is still going to carry its laws of physics, and you can change that with temperature and humidity and all kinds of things. That's primarily why dB meter readings for noise ordinances don't work, because it will change based upon weather. So, yes, we're going to meet. We're going to come up with what we're already doing, and maybe some ideas that we as business owners will be looking at. We want to work with you guys, because the business in Ocean Springs is what's bringing the money in. We're here for a reason. Yes, I own a bar. I like making money. It's great. My employees love getting paid. They enjoy that. So, that's not why I do it now. We're good.
Sorry, that's a 30-minute timer. Go ahead.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
You talked a long time.
So I started at just to make money, and it's quite changed severely. We are now, and have been for a very long time, sponsors of the Ocean Springs High School wrestling team and football team. And we've helped, I don't know how many homeless people. As a matter of fact, one of our kids now works at FEB with my brother, who showed up fresh out of being released from prison and looking for a second start. And we took that chance, and he was doing phenomenal now, has a wife and 2 kids. We are about our community. It's not just about making money. That's it.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
We look forward to meeting with y'all.
Do we have anybody else like to address the board? No? All right. Thank y'all very much. We can move on to Mayor and Alderman's forum. Steve, you have anything?
I do. I just want to kind of say thank you to, what do we call the other side of the hall? And that's going to be, I want to thank Vicki, Christine, Carolyn, Mindy, Sarah, for everything y'all do to help me do a better job. So I know y'all don't always get a thank you, but thank you for, Alan, you seem like you get all the thank you, so we're going to move it over there to them. And then I guess, nobody's really just kind of come out and said anything, but, we had some gunfire over the weekend downtown. So I reached out to Karen. Me and Karen kind of just talked about it a little bit, so we're going to try to get together with the chief and of course the business owners and, try to make sure that, we can kind of avoid anything happening in the future. And then I wanted to reach out to the attorney. And is there anything that we can relay to the public on where we stand on the future litigation with the ex-attorney that we have, to kind of let the public know where we stand at?
What is the...
What's going on with litigation, or is that something that we're able to discuss? The cases we have, why we move forward with him.
Well, you can discuss, they're public cases, right? We know, are you talking about the 6?
Yes.
The particular 6 which were named in the motion for the executive session from last time. The status of those would be a matter of public record by looking at some docket sheets about kind of where they stand. That's certainly public knowledge. Generally speaking, strategies or what's going to happen next from the city's perspective is either confidential attorney work product, because it's what I think would, as the city attorney, would be the next steps, or is a legal strategy that normally is not discussed in an open meeting because litigants would be in the room, but that's a decision for y'all to make. So it's really kind of a question of what level of disclosure you intend to make. There's a lot of information that's publicly available already about kind of what's happening. If you look at the docket sheets, we can certainly put something together about where things stand as a matter of public record. Is my thought, and I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared exactly for that question, but that's generally what's disclosable. But you're the board, you decide what you want to disclose, but there can be consequences of taking such action if you don't talk about it ahead of time.
Is there, Mayor, do you have anything further, or do you think we just need
No, I think he pretty much addressed it. There's cases that are former attorneys trying to wrap up, and they've been involved with the cases, and what you're talking about is keeping them on until that's finished. That's where we're at right now. It was voted to continue, let them finish the cases, and then they'll be paid.
Is that former attorney, are they considered employees of the city, or are they considered independent contractors, or what are they considered?
They're not employees, they're contracted with the firm.
is that, Alderman Stennis, you asking me that question?
Yeah.
An independent contractor, like any professional service, like attorney or an accountant, is not personnel of the city, right? You serve as a contractor. The caveat to that would be for an attorney who is currently serving in litigation, what's going on in any particular case or what's going to happen or trying to decide what's going to happen is a legal strategy, not necessarily part of terminating the contract with that attorney, if that makes sense. So you have representation in a legal matter by an attorney, and then you have the contract with the attorney, right? So whether or not an attorney continues to represent a client in a case is a legal strategy because there are consequences in cases when lawyers withdraw or removed, which require court approval, as opposed to discussing the termination of a contract with any particular other attorney, an accountant, doesn't matter, and what the termination provisions of that contract are. And there are cases, particularly the Harding case, which is M14007 from the Mississippi Ethics Commission. It says the discussion about the termination of a contract can be deemed prospective litigation, which would be something that would be held in private to be evaluated. So if that's your question.
Are you finished, Steve?
I'm finished.
I just wanted to bring up, we've caught a lot of flack about this vote in executive session on August the 5th. And I've talked to three attorneys that have said it was completely illegal. And I have an Attorney General's opinion here from June 25th, 2009 that states there's no authority for the board to enter into executive session to discuss employment of an individual as an independent contractor. And it just concerns me that we may have done something very illegal, and the fact that we are held as aldermen individually liable. And it concerns me. And I just don't think I think that we should have come back out and made that vote because it's been done before in the past administration. It was done to continue on with Wilkerson's firm. And I think we went a little bit too far in executive session.
Well, in the minutes, we'll say what they say, but be mindful that the discussion, as I recall, and y'all, was about a legal strategy regarding current pending litigation. I don't recall reviewing a contract. I've never seen a contract. We didn't talk about the contract with the Dogan Wilkinson firm.
But they're not a personnel of the city, are they?
I understand that, but they are the attorney for the city. So there's also the ethics opinion, which is Harding versus Hancock Regional Solid Waste Authority, case number M14007, which cites mayor and alderman of Vicksburg versus Vicksburg Printing and Publishing Company, which is a Mississippi Supreme Court case from July 1983. And what that case says, strategy sessions or negotiations with respect to prospective litigation or issuance of an appeal order, when an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of a public body, are appropriate for executive session. And so with regard to talking about lawyers that are currently engaged in litigation, I think there's another layer of the analysis that you're talking about, not terminating the contract of a general independent contractor. So you're talking about, and as I recall, without disclosing confidential information or attorney-client information, which I can't disclose unless y'all vote for me to disclose it, that the executive session was to determine a strategy for handling current litigation, not the termination of a contract per se, because it was about 6 current cases.
Okay, I have a question then. These cases, they're all under the MML insurance service?
Now, the 6 cases of which which were subject to that are the ones that are not.
These are not under MML?
Those are the direct, I guess I would call them a direct pay case, yes.
And what defines a strategy session? Because I don't believe we're talking about any hard facts of any cases when we meet in executive session. It's not, you're not asking us for input on how to settle matters, really. So
Well,
what is the strategy session?
The strategy
mean?
session doesn't mean that you don't have to necessarily resolve a matter. It's about the matter either moving forward or being concluded. I mean, it can take all kinds of forms. So
if the discussion was about retaining Wilkinson on these cases, is that not related to a contract?
no, because they're actively litigated cases. He's made appearances in court. He has to be released from the court. You can file a motion to withdraw from a case when you represent a party. Let's just talk about me first. Let's talk about me for a second, just as a litigating attorney, just to take me as an example. I am currently trying a case in Gulfport that started today in front of a jury. That case will continue until tomorrow, or maybe Thursday. If I went to the court and said, my client has fired me and I have to withdraw, the court has the discretion to say, no, you can't withdraw. You are going to continue the case because we're this far down the case. So if you're talking about the termination of representation or the change of representation in an active litigated case, that has a litigation consequence for any case. So it's not, my understanding of the motion that was passed was for the representation to continue in those 6 cases as it had already been established. And it's not about it wasn't about a contract.
So does it need to be?
Well, and then if you also look at the, when the clerk came out, she only specifically said 2 cases that we were looking at. If you go look at the recording, because we don't have the minutes yet, but it was only 2 cases that we were supposed to be talking about. And you're mentioning 6, because if you go look at the recording, it specifically says which cases that we were supposed to be litigating or strategizing or whatever, discussing litigation.
And then there was a vote in February in public meeting to whether or not to keep Wilkinson.
I just think we gotta be very careful because we personally are held liable for that, and I'm not going to go down that road. I want to stay right down as legal as possible.
You don't want to sell the house?
No, it won't be sold, they'll take it. So,
Well, the only recommendation I would have for the board is that you decide as a board what issues you want to discuss in an open meeting, understanding the consequences of maybe doing so with regard to litigation and legal matters to the detrimental effect of the city. So that's something that you have to weigh. You can vote not to go into closed session and discuss it in an open meeting. That's.
I didn't have a problem going into closed session to actually strategize things or discuss the litigation, but for the votes, for something like that, should have come out here, I think. And that's based on what I read here and several different people I've talked to. And I think we've caught a little grief for that.
Well, to elaborate to this whole thing is the big focus is to retain Wilkerson. We asked, how many cases are there? What is the time frame of the cases? And the reason why we went ahead and moved on with it is there is supposed to be a time frame of them going ahead and winding down and stopping. We don't want to cost the city any more money with trying to get new lawyers and attorneys on this. But is transparency for the board as whole, bringing it out and not discussing the cases, but discussing the time frame of the cases is something that I do feel like, can be brought in for the public to understand why we are doing what we are doing.
I would support that.
That's just my thoughts.
It was discussion, one of the cases is not even circling the tower on a conclusion. That could be way far down the road.
Right. But as a board as a whole, we have the ability to let a firm go if need be, if the time frame is not being met. So, Karen has good valid points, but, so.
You,
I'm done.
yeah, okay. All right, Kevin, you got anything?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. Hey, thanks for the easements on Linda, they look good. The next thing is, I'd like to make a motion to authorize employee number 1686 for out-of-state travel on August 26th through 27th to Atlanta, Georgia, to testify in a case.
Okay, got a motion?
So moved.
Got a second by Alderman Stennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
That's it.
That's it?
All right.
Barbara?
Sure. I got two things. Where are we with, at one time, I believe we had a memo of agreement with Gulf Coast Research Labs boat launch at the end of East Beach, and I hear from a lot of my residents, where does that stand? They want to know. I've heard conflicting stories. Maybe the boat launch is getting renovated.
It's complete, and she reached out last week, the beginning of last week. She wants to get with us and get an MOU back in place.
Perfect.
So that will be coming, of course, toward the end of boating season now, but it should be in place soon, once we get it and let our attorney review it.
That's a great update. Second, I got an email today, which I didn't have time to prepare a handout. Jason Camp did come back and tell me that they can do a very small course. It is between 2 and 3 hours long. It would cover the topics of duties and responsibilities of the mayor and aldermen, Open Meetings Act requirements, public records law, and time for Q&A. No training fee, only travel expenses that are estimated at $300. It requires a unanimous order from the board to proceed, and training has to be conducted as an open meeting in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. Those are his stipulations, or their stipulations.
Where would that be?
They will come here.
Oh, they would come here. Okay.
That's only $300.
So I can send that with a memo and attach his email to get circulated, since I think we discussed the next meeting, bringing this up again, or whatever you all would like to talk about.
That's up to the board.
So they'll actually, this is an exception that they're gonna come out here? or-
It's only a piece of what the parliamentary expert would have provided, but it's a start.
Yeah, well, if they'll come here,
Yes.
I don't have to go there. I'm all for it.
It'd save you a trip to Hattiesburg. It's kind of like the October, well, they have 3 classes they're doing across the state. I know one is in Hattiesburg in October, and it's part of that. It's a
Yeah,
brand
see,
new
they got it
course.
Right here.
So is it 300 for the whole board, or?
It's nope, it's an approximate he said he can only charge for travel only, and it's approximately $300 cost.
Sounds good.
But I can send that to you, and it can get
Just,
refined, or
I wish we
whatever you
could
want to
get
do.
dates that he was available.
It's for us to set, but,
Um,
it has to be unanimous, he said. He wants full board participation.
Well, we're gonna have to wait till Alderman Blackman is back to get that unanimous vote.
So I'll just present
I know
it.
October, that was a problem I was having with Miss Joy, for the team building. It
Right,
just-
we have all the festivals.
I mean, we don't have a spare moment.
I'll just present and see what we can,
But I think that's a good avenue to go down with.
that's it.
That's it? All right, Messenger.
I just wanted to thank Julie Weaver and Melanie Allen for reaching out via email, requesting participation from myself, and I think Aldermen and the tree canopy renewal project. I'm kind of excited about that, so I appreciate them reaching out.
I can second that.
Go tour your board?
Yes. It's going to require more time.
Yeah, that's not easy. It sounds like it'd be easy to find spots, but it's not easy.
It's even worse than two. We have so many trees that.
Right. And then you gotta worry about sewer, water lines, you gotta worry about the power lines, and
Yep.
it's not that easy. The 200 trees didn't sound like that much, but then you start thinking about where to place them, it's tough. All right, Alderman Hinton.
All right. I'd just like to thank all city staff for being patient with the board coming in. You know, y'all have worked very hard to make this transition for us. Just keep up the good work, and we are here to support y'all, and as the board as a whole. So, thank y'all.
Okay. And I'm gonna do a little more research and get everything for the team building session along. I'll bring that back at another meeting. This one's gone long enough, and I think we're all tired and ready to go, but is there a need for a closed session? Do we have anything for a closed session? No? Well, that's good news. No executive session. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We got a motion by Alderman Hinton, second by Alderman Wade, all in favor?
All right.